So today there are three topics that we're going to talk about. The first one being learn how to organize your files in Collavate with its auto-centralization and tagging feature, creating and uploading documents to Collavate, and how to utilize Collavate for fast document processing. And finally, and how approval or reviewing process is handled in Collavate. Workflow options and to suit your organization's needs. So if you're not familiar with Collavate, it's a workflow suite that works on top of Google App Engine based on the Google Drive. So we follow the same service level agreement of Google App Engine, which promises that 99.98% of uptime, and it's really stable. So what it does, Collavate, before we actually begin, it uses the files based on the Google Drive and creates a structured workflow feature for the organizations to use that you can use to cooperate in multiple documents and process them. So let's quickly look at the actual screen. So before we actually, let me quickly show you the main screen. So let's just talk about the benefits of Collavate that we just talked about in the beginning of the introduction. So we have the organization feature, the structured workflow, and everything. But first one that really stands out from just using Google Drive is that we provide tagging, which is not available natively in Google Drive. So let's say we search for a document. So here, all the list of the documents you see are directly from Google Drive, and it's not operating on any separate servers. So let's say we search for a document for guide using the search bar of Collavate, and you can see there's too many results. So if you have too many results, then what we can do in Collavate is you can tag them. So there are two kinds of tags in Collavate. The first one is the personal tags that are created by a user and is usable by the user who created it. And the second one is the shared tags, which are created by the administrators and can be used by anyone in the domain or your company. So here we have a little bit too many tags. So these gray ones are the personal ones that you can create simply by clicking the plus button and just typing it and pressing enter will create a personal tag for yourself. And the yellow tags are the ones that are created by your administrators. So I just searched for the guide and it just turns a result that's way too varied. So let's just click a tag, and it is currently an end condition, but you can click it and change it to or condition or refresh your tags selection. So by clicking this guide, you can see that the results that are shown previously with too many your undesirable results, now it's all down to 5. So if you use tags accordingly, and let me just quickly show what the menu looks like with show tags because it was hidden before. So we have all these, but if you click guide, it'll show you 5 documents that are tagged with guide tags. So it really can make it easy for you to organize your files and access your files even after you're done with your works. And now let's move on to the creating document part. So Collavate is not a separate thing. It operates on top of Google Drive, and creating a document there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it by clicking this create button and creating any other type of documents. But even if you create a document from Google Drive, it is automatically added to Google Drive, so Collavate will actually read the file and you can use the file from the Collavate. So it doesn't really matter that much where you create it, but for the demonstration's sake, let's just create a document by clicking create button on the top right corner and clicking docs, and it'll open up a separate screen to a blank Google Drive embedded page. So you can also upload documents from your computer. You can convert Office documents just like the Google Drive. by using this upload menu, or just uploading it to your Google Drive and converting from there has the exact same effect. So let's say we want to create like a report, a sample report document, and it's created. And what it does is when you create a document, you can use it for processing in your Collavate homepage. If you refresh the page, you can see that the report file is created. So what's important with the creation of document is after you create or upload documents that you like, and we can move on to the star feature of Collavate, which really excels compared to others. With a document with all the contents filled in, you can add people for the reviewing procedure. So let's say we have an account for our test domain. So you can also add tags, proposal, report. So we have all this information set in. And let's say we want to use this file over and over again in the future because it serves a purpose that used to be used frequently. So instead of clicking process, which I will explain later in more detail, when you have a document and you have all the details filled in, you can click this publish contents and members as my template. And then the button will change from the process to publish template. So if you publish your template, it goes into your template folder in your Google Drive. And you can see this as the process is saved as a template. And what's really brilliant about this whole template thing is because it saves all the information, including tags and the reviewer's information and the contents itself. So if you go to your process menu on the left and click process and hover your mouse on this three line, and it'll show you the context menu. And down here we have the templates. And if you go to my templates, it'll show all the personal templates that you created, and you can click the title, which creates the copy of the document, or you can check the box and edit the template if you wish. So when you click the template, it doesn't actually change the template itself. It creates a copy of the document, so you don't have to go back to the original and create changes and save and again. So it just creates a copy with the tags, as you can see from here. And if you click the process context menu, you can see that the two reviewers that I've inputted are already there. So if you create a tag, if you create a well-made template, then you don't really need to change a lot of things. For instance, if this is like a weekly report with this, which will be going to the same people for review, then you can leave everything else the same. Just go to your template, click it, open a new copy of the document, and just fill in the changes and submit it for review. It's just easy as that. So now let's take a look at the approval process of Collavate, which is really the key feature of Collavate itself, as the name derives it. So let's say we have everything prepared and we want to process it for review. So if you don't like the term to process or things like that, you can actually change this in the admin menu, which I'll show you shortly. So we have already inputted this people, 2 people, and we want them to be reviewed. So let's quickly go to our home screen. So this is like the embedded Google Drive mode, and it can be a little bit clustered. So let me go back to the home screen to show you in a pop-up mode. So using Collavate to process a document, you don't need to print or email your documents. You can just do it right here, and you can track your documents and do things very efficiently. So here we have 2 people, and there's number 1 and number 2, which is a serial processing procedure. So if this first person approves it, then only then it can move on to the second person. So if the first person declines it, it won't move along. So, but what if you have another person like here, demo 2, and then you can activate an option where either all of the people on the first one level, it can be anywhere. When there's multiple people in a level of approval line, then you can activate an option where they all have to agree for it to move along to the next level, or just one person out of many has to agree before it can proceed along the rest of the line. So I will explain the actual options for your workflow tailoring in the final section. So let's just see what happens when you actually process your documents in Collavate. So when you have all this information, you can also leave comments. Please review the following document. And you click process. What happens is when you process your document, even if you created the document, when you click process, the ownership of the document is transferred automatically to the document manager, which the company can assign to the person you want. And you can see that the title of the document, which was gray and just named report, has been turned into green, and it has been numbered with our domain name and possibly some other rules that you can also adjust to your needs. So what happens is it automatically transfers the ownership. So when you have important documents, its security and auto-centralization feature can really make a difference if that's what is important for you. So now I've shown you what Collavate can do, and this is just a little feature of so many things that we can provide. I will explain to you how you can tailor the entire workflow process in an admin menu. So in an admin account in a domain, then you can adjust many things, such as adding and subtracting users, giving them licenses and whatnot. So, but there are many settings that as an admin you can do, but I will focus on the workflow sections. So here we have the general menus on how to tailor the actual workflow process. So this applies to the actual end users in your domain, and then what they will encounter when they're trying to process their documents. So we have signatures. So here, when you turn on the signatures on the previous screen, we have these two people or three people. You can see they're pending. So once they approve it, their signatures will appear if they have their signatures registered to Collavate. So you can just see it briefly in a glance, the results of your process. And it'll also appear in a PDF file if you use a feature called print process, as you can see from here. Then it'll create a cover letter for the document. So if you process multiple documents, it'll be all bundled into one PDF, and you can also see a cover letter showing you the history and the summary of the workflow, where when all the reviewers approved it or declined it. So here in our example, you can see that the originator, which is me, that I have my signature on, and it's pending. So if they all approved it and you process this again, print the process again, then there will be the signatures and the times and the notes for these people. The comment section, yeah, you've seen before. Before I click the process button, you can add comments. And the proof for everyone is here in the previous section. For instance, for this admin account, which actually me. So if there's multiple people in a process, and then people are not available to process the documents, then you can actually approve it for everyone else, and it'll say approve for all. So it's not recommended to have it on if that's a sensitive issue. You can turn it off and then save it. So only the people responsible has the options to approve documents. The parallel approval option is the one I explained. So submitted document moves on to the next responsible person, proceed anyway, or it gets rejected when rejected with disagree. So when you need that unanimity in your document processing, then you can choose to reject when disagree, or if you're more lenient in your options, you can choose to proceed anyway options. To maintain initial access privileges options. So when you're an originator and when you submit a document, if you do not click enable this option, what happens is when an originator submits a document for process, even if he's the creator, he loses the option to edit the document because he processed it and the ownership is transferred to the document manager. As for the reviewer, when the reviewer is given the option to process the document, so for instance, you can see the options here. You can see that there's can edit and comment and can only view and comment. And if I don't enable this option, which says maintain initial access privileges of reviewers and myself, so if I don't keep this option, then it will be revoked for the originator when he submits it for process and when the reviewer reviews the document. So if there is a document that needs constant cooperation from all the people, then you must leave this option on, and everyone has to actually, the originator has to turn on the option. The recipient is similar to CC and group CC feature of your email. So when you submit a document, there's this group CC and CC option. So when you include the email addresses and Google group email addresses, when the processing is all finished, when the reviewing is all finished, then only then it'll be sent to these Google group or the individuals for references. The reset edit process, it's when for the time when you submitted the wrong document or included wrong people or excluded a person that needs to be on the reviewing line, then you can choose to edit the reviewers. But if you actually submitted the wrong document, then you need to reset the process and do the whole process from the beginning, because as of now we don't actually allow for swapping the files in between the process. And finally, the automatic reminder feature, it's our latest addition to Collavate. So when you turn it on, you can choose to send automatic reminders to the current viewer of the process every certain days, and you can also add custom messages that will be sent. So what this does is the Collavate will send automatic reminders for the reviewers who haven't reviewed this document since they got it for every 3, 5, 7, or 15 days. You can also do this manually by going to the either your submitted documents or documents you received. So if you go to your process and my received and to be reviewed menu, then you can select the document and, oops, my mistake. Let's go to my submitted. Yes. So you can send a reminder to the current viewer. So it's a very sought after feature from our clients, and we're really happy to have this feature finally updated. And so these are the kind of things that you can customize for your organization and how you want the whole workflow processes to be handled. And I think that this content today might not be the perfect one if you're very new to Collavate, but we're kind of progressing along the actual thing. We started from the very beginner's tutorial type of contents to today's more, how do I say, real business type thing. So this is all I have prepared. If you have any questions, please ask away in your chatting screen, or you can turn on your mic and talk to us in person.